Yo, what up, y'all? It's your boy Pink, and we are finally starting a vlog from 2026, and that is the Nier Automata End of Data Symphony concert. That was a lot of words, but let's get started. Being that there's barely any footage for this, what I'm gonna do is, spoiler alert, read through the synopsis of the plot of the concert and talk about the concert recordings, because I wasn't allowed to film during the concert, except for the very last section, but luckily someone on YouTube named Ghidorah Stan Productions uploaded the music CD audio, so one can look back at the original 2024 recordings. Originally, I was going to compare them to the in-game audio throughout the Nier Automata, Replicant, and Reincarnation versions of the song, but I was so deep scripting this video. When I got to the song, spoilers for the set, I guess, Fleeting Words, that was on the Nier Replicant soundtrack, so I thought, oh, okay, cool. But then I see there's even more versions of the songs that I already had written my thoughts on, and then there were about 3 more versions of another song, so I said, fuck it. If I did every single version, because I try to be thorough with videos like these when I'm talking about my experiences and reliving them. I like to yap, I want to get my thoughts out there. I try to make these as 20 minutes because of social media limitations, but the video would have been probably an hour if I kept it. So what I'm going to do now is go through the synopsis for the concert, and then I'm going to discuss my thoughts on the songs afterwards. So when I saw the show, it was originally on January 11th at Carnegie Hall in New York City. The year before, in 2025, they had a tour, but the only stop close to me was Boston. And when Vic told me that, I said, man, if only they came to New York. And then I think it was around October, if not December, they announced that they were coming to Carnegie Hall. So we immediately bought tickets, and I also went with Julian and Max. But let's get into the plot. So I'm literally just gonna read it verbatim from the wiki. After 2B was revived by the pods on September 5th, 11,945, 9S awakens on September 19th next to 2B. Still needing further repairs, the pair decide to scavenge for transporters to obtain the necessary Yorha-specific parts on October 22nd. On October 25th, the pair notices that the transporters contain messages and memories of the old world. The information pieces together and point to the existence of Eden, a hidden underground complex used to store Yorha technologies. 2B and 9S begin traveling to the location. At one point in their journey, the pair also discover an old manor. 2B realizes her black box is still damaged from when A2 first killed her, though keeps it a secret from 9S. Still, 9S takes notice and deduces the irreparable issue. After traversing a sandy area, the androids descend a spiral staircase into darkness. Inside is an abandoned alien mothership with crimson words scrawled on the wall from a man who lost someone most dear. 2B and 9S discover a transporter deep in the structure, which opens to reveal the ruins of a city covered in white crystal. The city is occupied by hostile machine life forms that ambush the androids. Further transporters are present throughout the city, instead offering memories about topics unknown to 9S, such as Project Gestalt, White Chlorination Syndrome, Yona, and the Red Dragon. The pair venture deeper to discover an incomplete replica of the bunker. Cables are strewn about and thicken into a forest-like environment, which soon is riddled with damage from teeth and claws. Shades are encountered, as well as the memories of a Gestalt named Louise. Eventually, the pair find themselves in a copy of the hangar, where cables form into the shape of a colossus that terrorized the old world. Ultimately, 2B and 9S arrive at a darkened chapel. The interior is littered with approximately 100 Yorha android corpses surrounding a large black sphere. The pods are unable to discern the sphere's function, and 2B speculates that the chapel was used by the androids as a place of worship in their final hours. 2B reflects on the location, and she collapses as her black box fails at last. 9S curses and prays with 2B's demise. Thereafter, he watches as fragments of the Yorha's corpses' black boxes form a circle of light and repair 2B's box. The unknown black sphere crumbles and is destroyed. While the pair don't understand the strange occurrence, they suggest that it could have been a hidden feature of machine cores. Instead of focusing on fighting machines or protecting humanity, 2B and 9S agree to simply embrace the world as it is, no matter how sully the journey's path might be. There are some special guests, but first, the conductor is Eric Roth with his full orchestra, as well as a choir, and we have the featured performers, vocalist Emmy Evans and Janique Nicole. Very talented singers. The first song from the concert is Crumbling Lies, composed by Keigo Hoashi from Nier Automata. This song has a very cinematic opening type of feel with some staccato strings, and what I feel is an epic choir, mostly from like the tenor and some of the alto singers. There's some timpanis and strikes that build up the energy of the song, as well as some brass that builds in really quietly. The song throughout has a feeling of tense but eerie anticipation, and I think that this is perfect as an opener for an apocalyptic dystopian world, especially with the horns, like the trumpets and all the other brass instruments throughout, with the rises from the violins. It's such a great song. Following that is City Ruins. I think it's based on the Rays of Light version, which is originally composed by Keiichi Okabe from Nier Automata. This is such a beautiful song regardless of whichever version of the song is played. There's a pretty yet lonely piano that makes you feel like you're exploring around this dangerous world, some staccato strings, and some brass that adds a little bit of wonder that you can't help but explore this world. Like, is there still life out there possibly? There's not much percussion or guitars in the concert version like it does in the original Rays of Light version of the song, but the sustained strings really help build the atmosphere. It makes you wonder if there's any hope left in this world at all. There's a pretty choir that comes in around halfway through with the tenor/bass singers that add to the eeriness of the song, and I could kind of listen to this song for hours. Things slow down towards the end as the strings quiet down and we're left with just the piano on like a really quiet, somber note. I would also like to add, aside from the actual English language being sung, I know this is going to sound weird, but that's because for those that don't know, Chaos language is what's mostly sang throughout most of these songs. Chaos language is mostly sang by Emmy Evans and Janique Nicole, which in concept is really cool because the origins of this made-up language is mixing the sounds and syllables of multiple languages like French, German, English, and I think Gaelic. This is meant to demonstrate how the language could possibly evolve within 1,000 years, because as language continues to evolve, we don't know what it would sound like. It would probably be unrecognizable. But with that, we go on to Snow in Summer, composed by Keiichi Okabe and Kakeru Ishihama from Nier Gestalt and Replicant. There's a creepy yet pretty choir until the drums and percussion come in that establish some tension. The strings are quiet yet make you feel like something is coming or lurking. There's some dissonance that helps with that feeling too. It's done really well. There's some sustained strings that take over the choir with the help of some guitars and a bassoon in the original version, and the choir comes back as the drums amp up, which make you feel like there's no end to this, yet there might be a tiny glimmer of hope. And it ends with some percussion like keys and some reverse keys. Though, compared to the actual performance version of this song, it's more choir/string focused, but it still captivates that same feeling. Though the concert version ends with what might be a xylophone and some bells. Up next is Song of Ancients, originally composed by Keiichi Okabe, featuring vocals by Emmy Evans from Nier Gestalt/Replicant. I originally wrote about the 4 versions of the songs that are out there: Devila, Popola, Hollow Dreams, and Fate. But like I said, I'm just gonna talk about the concert stuff. Some of my notes are gonna be mixed in there since the concert versions are very similar to the in-game versions. So I'm gonna go back and forth between that, but I'm mainly gonna be talking about the concert version. And for this song, the concert version starts slower with what sounds like a harp to me. The vocals sound really lonely in this version. There were other versions of this song that sounded really fun comparatively. There's some percussions and drums that come in to build up some energy. A bassoon, piano, and strings join, which make it sound really pretty. And I mentioned that Emmy Evans is the vocalist for this song, but for this version specifically, Janique Nicole joins as well. And it's a really nice blend of both of their voices. It's a really pretty duet, and it kind of makes it feel like a mix of both the Popola and Fate versions of the song. After that is Amusement Park, composed by Keigo Hoashi from Nier Automata. The concert version of the song has a very eerie feeling with more strings and choir compared to the original, which adds more tenors. There's no vocals by Emmy Evans in this one, but we have a lot of woodwind and string elements that take over that melody. It's really pretty with the staccato and sustained strings that appear throughout. The drums in this song feel more like a march, adding some timpani strikes on top of that. We get some brass, which makes it sound really grand. There are some vocals done by the tenors and or bass vocalists, which are then joined by the sopranos. The tenors really establish the creepy vibe of the song, but it gets even more eerie when you add the sopranos on top. The second half of this song sounds a bit more triumphant, but then ends with a big but quiet finish. Up next is Deep Crimson Foe, composed by Keiichi Okabe, with contributions from Kakeru Ishihama, Ryuichi Takada, and Keiko Hoashi, and this is from Nier Gestalt/Replicant. This song starts with strings and a really pretty piano. The piano gives a sense of wonder while the strings guide you in the eeriness that it sets up. The piano gets a bit more active later as it gives the feeling like it's unsure of proceeding through. There's some slight percussion egging on the movement of the song as more strings come in. There's some sharp tension halfway through with the strings as it feels like it turns into a Kingdom Hearts battle theme. Me personally, I feel like it sounds like Destiny's Force from Kingdom Hearts 1. Give both of these songs a listen and get back to me if you agree with me or not. The brass adds some tension to the song and it makes you feel like you need to hurry up and leave this area. There's percussion strikes that add to the intensity as the choir builds up, and it's just a really good song. Then we have Gods Bound by Rules, composed by Keiichi Okabe, with contributions by Kakeru Ishihama and Ryuichi Takada from Nier Gestalt and Replicant. The song starts with some harp and some high octave strings with some piano. It's pretty, yet it's eerie. There's some drum strikes and strings that come in with a full choir and horns, gives it like a really grand feel. The percussion follows the same rhythm as the original version of the in-game song, but doesn't have the same intensity / loudness, but it's aided by the staccato strings. The soprano voices don't come in until all of the elements come together, but it has this ethereal but hopeless feeling. There are some sections that quiet down until it's just the same strings in the soprano choir. There's some hopeful yet careful sounding strings that come in with the piano and build with the percussion. That is until the lower choir comes in with this march-like rhythm, and a sound of bells takes all the elements away except for the strings in the choir, until it's just the piano and strings for the outro, and it ends on a strike from a timpani. Really cool vibe that this song gives. Following that is Shadow Lord, composed by Keiji Okabe with contributions by Kakeru Ishihama, Keigo Hoashi, and Takafumi Nishimura from Nier Gestalt/Replicant. Vic, I remember, was excited for this song, and I can see why. It starts with some strings with a bit of tension, but kind of triumphant sounding. There's more strings that come in and expand on that sound, and it's really pretty, made up of mostly brass and strings. There's some cello that comes in with some violins and I think some violas. There's some percussion that comes in with a harp, as the strings and brass sound like they're trying to warn you about something. It then shifts into a march rhythm for a bit that solos the strings with a little bit of brass and then leads back into the march. The violins and violas start going crazy later into the song, with the brass sounding like there's some impending doom to come. There's some tension from the violins towards the end that brings up the intensity until the strikes cease and it's just the cellos that remain to end the song. It's a beautiful composition. So around this point of the concert was the intermission, and since we had about 20 minutes, I got out of my seat and ran to get the merch that I got from the show, which was just the anniversary of the concert shirt, which has Emil's face on it. Really dope and really creepy. My fellow Nier fans would appreciate it. But when the intermission ends, we go into Copied City, composed by Keigo Hoashi from Nier Automata. This is one of the prettiest songs in the entire soundtrack, in my opinion. The concert version has a really pretty rendition of the piano, as then violins and violas come in along with the choir. They added a harp with, I think, maybe a flute doing the top line melody. There's some light percussion that adds some movement to the song as the violins take over most of the melody. It gets some more tension as the cellos come in, and then we solo to the piano, although there's some accompaniment from woodwinds and some bells. Then some dark piano stabs come as the choir comes back, and everything beautifully comes together as this feeling of an abandoned world closing in. It's just such a good song. Composition wise, production wise, it's so good. Following that is Emil, composed by Keiichi Okabe with contributions from Keigo Hoashi, Kakeru Ishima, and Takafumi Nishimura. There were originally 3 versions across Automata, Gestalt, and Replicant, but let's talk about the concert version. The concert version starts with some strings and a quiet bell. We get some cellos and a harp that join in to lead the pizzicato violas along with the cellos. There's a really smooth and pretty piano that joins and gives us the saddest rendition of this song, compared to the despair, karma, and sacrifice versions of the song, which mainly to me sound heroic, to just summarize my notes about each of those versions, but this one really sounds like a defeated version of the song. There's what sounds like a bassoon is doing the melody of the choir compared to the original version, and some strings that follow suit of the melody, and it's very pretty. The piano melody is beautiful afterwards, and the tension strikes as we get a march line. The brass comes in with some flutes and strings, a tenor choir is then joined by the altos, and the tremolo strings add to the tension in this. It's very good. It then becomes this beautiful mess of anxiety and despair. The brass later sounds a bit triumphant, but narrative-wise in the song, it kind of feels like it's too late, like maybe everything is lost, but has a kind of heroic sounding finish, like there's still hope to be found. After that, we have a beautiful song composed by Keigo Hoashi from Nier Automata. The concert version starts the same way as the original, with some tense choir and violins and drum strikes, but there's some brass in it too. The strings are a bit quiet, but the brass has way more presence compared to the original. The timpanis give it like an ominous feel that's aided by the choir. The strings feel a bit more heroic when Janique starts singing, and it's really great, as well as a very epic finish with the choir. After that is Forest Kingdom, composed by Keigo Hoashi from Nier Automata. This song is technically 2 songs because it seamlessly transitions into Possessed by Disease, composed by Keiichi Okabe, also from Nier Automata. The fused version of this song starts with an arpeggio of a maybe piano with some cellos underneath. There's some bells that come in as well as a choir. Compared to the original version of Forest Kingdom, the choir is not as nasally, in my opinion. We have more strings that come in to give it a grand feeling. There's some bongos that come in to give some movement to the song. song, and there's a more present piano throughout. This really gives the feeling of some loneliness aside from the bongos. Then some violins come in to change the mood by having a staccato melody. There's a piano that does a really nice sounding riff for a sec, and the strings come back for that grand feeling once again. The tenor choir comes in as the piano and strings keep going as the bongos slowly stop. There's a tambourine strike that gives the sopranos their cue to join. There's an epic section from the strings that go on until things quiet down to just the choir and a harp with the staccato cello underneath everything. Then all the elements come back and we have this super grand feeling again, and of course the bongos come back too. And the song has a really big finish even with the bongos still going on. Let me correct myself from earlier. It was song 14, which is Fleeting Words, composed by Keiji Okabe from Replicant. This is the song that made me realize, holy shit, there's so many versions of the song. I'm just gonna talk about the concert versions themselves. Anyway, this song has a really pretty intro with a harp, piano, and some strings. It then quiets down to just Emmy Evans' vocals with the harp and strings until the piano comes underneath it. This song made me visualize a destroyed world with rain falling, with the piano representing the droplets of rain. I haven't played Replicant yet, but I'm excited to whenever I get to it. The strings emphasize this feeling of grief and loss, yet the harp that comes in gives it a little bit of whimsy. That is, until the choir comes in with some crazy ass strings, some flutes, and brass. There's some march drums that give tension and the feeling of things being lost, though it has a grand feeling with a beautiful string section that's amplified by the choir. Things quiet down until it's just some bells, the choir, and the harp until the tenors join again with what feels like the entire string section. There's a trumpet towards the end that gives a really heroic last stand type of finish. We then have the Dark Colossus Destroys All, composed by Keiji Okabe and Keigo Hoashi from Gestalt and Replicant. It starts with a dark piano and some bells. There's a creepy choir that reminds me of this meme cat video that I saw that just lists a bunch of different devil names. What I mean to say, it's very ominous. There's some thumping timpani strikes with some brass to establish the tension and urgency of the song. The falls in this song are really cool. There's a lot of intensity throughout. Later on, the drums come back to remind you that there's no escape until you destroy what I assume is the Dark Colossus before it destroys all. Things quiet down until we get just cellos and violas. Some flutes and violins join in until the choir comes back, and we get some brass too. And then there's this big grand finish with the choir, strings, and bass. Really cool song. Following that is the Sound of the End, composed by Keigo Hoashi from Nier Automata. It's really tense off rip with this big percussion hit at the very start. We get some brass with a quiet choir, some violins / violas with some dark piano underneath. Some percussion and bells are introduced with more brass and woodwinds. The song calms down a bit till it's just piano, strings, and the choir. It's really pretty but very eerie until it builds back into the tension, which really sounds like it is the end. There's an instrument in a higher octave which I think are some flutes that add some tension to it as there's another sudden stop. We have some piano and some xylophone, very quiet cellos and bass until some flutes come in. We get more woodwinds that join until the choir comes back. Then it's just mostly strings and choir. And I love the piano in this song. It's very minimal, but it's very pretty. Some crescendo strings as there's like a pulse building up to a grand finish and a crash cymbal into a high strike from the strings. We then have Bipolar Nightmare, which goes straight into Morning. Bipolar Nightmare is composed by Keigo Hoashi from Nier Automata, and Morning is composed by Keiji Okabe, also from Nier Automata. I will be honest, I wrote in my notes that I slightly fell asleep throughout this song because I think I came to this after working a full shift when I had a job. It immediately starts with a feel of tension with some fast-paced string and choir. We have some hats from a drum that play underneath it, a timpani strike with more strings that come in as well, and some flute stabs. There's some drum march snares, and then it's just the whole choir with piano and strings. It's a really pretty composition, and it flows really nicely. Then there's just a string section with a lot of tension, and the choir joins quietly until it's just them and what could be a music box, not 100% sure. The lower strings then creep in, giving this feeling of uneasiness, and a higher choir joins as well as some strings. And I think this is after the 4-minute mark of the song that it leads into Morning, but it's really hopeless sounding with the brass and the strings that play throughout. The choir comes in, to me symbolizing like a little glimmer of hope, though immediately taken away by the choir and the timpani strings. Really makes it feel like all hope is lost. Up next was Ashes of Dreams, originally composed by Keiichi Okabe with contributions from Kakeru Ishihama, Keigo Hoashi, Ryuichi Takara, and Takafumi Nishimura. This is from Gestalt and Replicant. There's a really pretty piano that sounds lonely. It's a really beautiful sound. Emmy Evans comes in as the vocalist as the piano expands into the lower octave. Janique Nicole comes in and her voice is complemented by the strings. It's a very pretty duet. Originally, when I was listening to this song, I think just got distracted. I thought the song was in chaos language, but then I realized it's in English. But looking at the lyrics, god damn it, it's so fucking depressing. But then again, it's Nier. It's just pain the game. I love the motif that the strings have throughout this entire song, and it comes to a point where it kind of feels like a little bit of a waltz to me. Maybe classic composer people are gonna get mad at me, but fuck it, that's what it sounds like to me. Both vocals from Emmy and Janique really complement the song. We get a quick whirl from the strings that transitions into the piano being more prominent and makes this song sound like a real tearjerker. When we finally get to the outro, it's just pianos and strings until a timpani brings in more strings, and it makes the final line of the song hit so hard, especially with the string motif playing. Just to reiterate that point, the final line of the song is how we've been fighting in vain, and then ends on a really pretty finish. And you can't have a Nier Symphony concert without Weight of the World, composed by Keiichi Okabe from Nier Automata. Y'all know this song had to come on. We have some somber ass piano with some strings, bassoons and flutes handle the guitar melody compared to the original, and a really pretty swell from the harp that brings in Janique's and Emmy's vocals. This is one of the best songs, hands down. Of course, it's the literal face of the soundtrack for a reason. When you think of Nier, this is the song, I feel. When the bass comes in, it feels a little jazzy, and there's a tiny bit of percussion like a shaker throughout, but I love the swell after the first chorus as it introduces more elements into the song, like some march snares and woodwinds as well as some strings, and this song is so fun to sing along to. I remember throughout the show, a couple rows behind us, there were some dudes that were just drunk. They were singing a bit too loudly. They didn't get kicked out or anything, surprisingly. It kind of soured the experience a tiny bit, but that was mostly because there were some people a few rows ahead of us that thought my group was making the noise, because I remember feeling their glares like, bro, that's not us, we're literally quiet trying to listen to this beautiful song. And I remember humming the song really quietly, because as much as I love the song and really wanted to sing it, I didn't want to ruin it for anyone else. But I do remember next to me was a dude cosplaying. I can't remember exactly, I think he was cosplaying the protagonist from Persona 3. I haven't played it yet, leave me alone, because I saw Lotus Juice twice, but those are future vlogs. But I remember that dude was crying when this song came on, which is valid because I wanted to too. But when all the elements come back together, this song is beauty incarnate. And a fun fact for y'all, I remember hearing this song for the first time back in 2018 when I went to a convention known as Anime Next. I don't remember if it's the first or second time that I went to Anime Next when they moved it to Atlantic City, because it was originally in Somerset, New Jersey. But I remember going on the last day, which is usually a Sunday, and I was looking for some stuff to do because my boy Pat was doing his cosplay stuff, or he was hanging out with some buds, I don't remember, but I remember being alone and looking for some stuff to do. So I went to what was kind of the concert hall, and I remember seeing this short Japanese lady on stage known as Marina Kawano. I remember Marina Kawano having a kind of short set. I think she may have had maybe 5, if not at most 8 songs. Sundays are usually the shortest days because, you know, people need to get the fuck out and go home. But she is the Japanese singer for Weight of the World. Those that haven't heard Weight of the World, there are different versions of the song. There's the English version that's sang by Janique Nicole, the French version which is sang by Emmy Evans, and the Japanese version sang by Marina Kawano. And she's a really big fan of baseball, and I remember she went ham for this performance. It's one of the only songs that I remember not knowing that this was from Nier. I remember loving the song. She even got a bit emotional on stage. It was just something to behold, to experience. Luckily, while doing research for this video, there's a person that uploaded her performance. I hope I'm not butchering your name. Arjun Srivastav, from about almost a decade ago. 2018, that's 8 years ago. I'm fucking old, dude. I might sound like a fake fan amongst the Nier people, but I only played Nier Automata recently, within like the last 2 if not 3 years, but I put a shit ton of hours hours into the game. I loved it from start to finish, even though it pissed me off at times because I stupidly didn't know about the chip system until halfway through the game. I still had a blast, except for that one mission where you play as A2 and you have to destroy the giant ML heads. I think it's like a secret boss type of thing, but fuck that mission. I even gave up my save file. If you know, you know. If not, please go play Nier Automata. I don't know if this video technically counts as a glaze, but I'm gonna glaze the game. Go play it. It's fucking amazing. It's beautiful. It still holds up to this day. I played the Switch version, and surprisingly, it did not crash, except for like maybe once or twice. The Switch 1 handled it pretty well, which I was very surprised. But anyway, this was a beautiful way to end the concert, especially with the pianos and the harp and the song. Y'all thought we were done? I don't remember exactly when, but I'm gonna mention these special guests. Series director Yoko Taro in the Emil mask, composer Keiichi Okabe that I've been mentioning throughout the entirety of this video, as well as the producer Yosuke Saito, who was in the crowd, and they all came on stage, spoke a few words. I appreciate Yoko Taro and Keiichi Okabe trying to speak English and, you know, getting most of their things out, and then people whoever could understand Japanese in the crowd understanding what they said. But that leads us into what is the encore section, starting with Inori, or prayers in English, composed by Keiichi Okabe from Reincarnation, the mobile game that still doesn't have a fucking port to any other system. The song starts with some harp swells and some piano flourishes until the strings are introduced. The piano changes into a melody that's really pretty. We get some bassoons and some sleigh bell percussion, some flutes, and even more strings until the string section takes over entirely. It really makes it feel like the end of a grueling journey, especially after hearing Weight of the World. The string section is really pretty, assisted with some of the sleigh bells, and there are so many melodies going on at once, but it's really fucking pretty. The piano accompaniment is really great too. There's some tension as the choir comes in, and to me, I got the visualization of snow falling down after the end of a fight that almost cost the entire world. That mellow yet peaceful embrace in a post-apocalyptic dystopian world. And the piano that follows is very somber as it's aided by the strings, and it ends on a really quiet note. And then we have one more song, and I'm going to glaze the fuck out of this song because aside from Weight of the World and Copied City, this has to be one of my favorite songs from Nier in general, even though I haven't played it, and that is Kaine, composed by Keiichi Okabe with some contributions from the people at Monica, the studio, but in my notes I found that it was especially helped by Kakeru Ishihama from Gestalt and Replicant. I needed this song. I knew that Weight of the World was gonna be there. Copied City, the amusement park, I kind of had a feeling was gonna be there, but Kaine was something that I needed. I didn't know that this was gonna mix stories from different songs and stories from the other Nier games all in one. I thought it was just gonna be Automata song, but when Kaine came on, I went crazy quietly because I didn't want to disturb anyone. But the piano in this is my favorite part of this song. It's assisted with some strings and bells. It's such a beautiful song, such great composition. We have Emmy Evans singing in the Chaos language. When that chorus hits, I have a hard nostalgia for this song. And it's funny because it's not even from the game. Again, just like back at Anime Next when I heard Weight of the World for the first time, not knowing it was from Nier, I heard a remix of Kaine from an artist named Bonafat because he did a remix on this song that became one of my favorite songs that I downloaded off of SoundCloud that I originally found from a channel that sadly hasn't posted in over a decade at this point. I'll still name the channel anyway, 17 Toomba Music. I follow a lot of these music promotional channels, and this I remember was one of the channels that I followed years ago while I was still in high school going into college. And I am so grateful that I stumbled upon this because to me, this brought the song full circle music wise. The remix came out 13 years ago. At least it was uploaded onto the channel 13 years ago. The production is so fun. The drums are very unique. I'm not 100% sure what kind of subgenre it is. It's very heavily sampling Kaine's piano and the chorus. And what I even like about the remix too is that it samples part of a speech from Charlie Chaplin's movie The Great Dictator. A very good speech that hits even today, especially with how fucked the world has gotten. If you haven't heard the speech yet, please go look it up. I haven't watched the movie. I only know that section fit that remix so well because it ties into the themes of Nier itself. It just striked my nostalgia very hard. But let's get back into the actual performance. The strings give it that intensity, and the wire underneath, it's just so good. There's a slight delayed percussion and the choir keeps getting louder. It becomes such a beautiful mess, and I love every time that I hear it. But overall, this experience was something that I need any fan of Nier in general to experience this show. I mean, you're gonna get some spoilers from Replicant and Reincarnation. I try to not pay attention too much to those sections so that I can experience the game for myself. I wrote a note that the conductor had a very unique style of conducting because I've never seen it with the few symphonies that I've seen. He always ended by swinging his right arm to the left, although it felt kind of like a throw, and he used his whole entire body to conduct. I don't know if that's like a specific style of conducting, or maybe that's just Eric Roth's version of conducting. It was an interesting sight. Either way, great conductor overall, and I would love to re-experience this show again. But with the only other footage that I have, the boys and I went to Shake Shack, we ate, hang out for a bit, took the bus, and then we went our separate ways. Holy shit, this experience was so fucking magical and fun, even though it comes from a very depressing line of games. But those are my thoughts on the Nier End of Data Symphony concert. I love wearing that Nier shirt because it reminds me of that night. But if you have played Nier, whether it's Automata, Replicant, Reincarnation, or even the Drakengard games, which I've heard tie into this as well, let me know your thoughts on those games. And even the Nier Automata anime, which came out recently. The animators, they love 2B and A2, I will say that. But it was great. I liked it. And that concludes the first 2026 vlog. The next mainline vlog is going to be a bit of a hefty one, but I'm going to try to whittle my way through that one. But with that, I have been Pink, and I will see y'all whenever.